All right, Shelley Hutchinson, it's so good to have you here. My name's Jono. I'm here with the lovely May King. May King, how are you this morning or this afternoon or whatever time it is in the mother country? Hey, how's it going?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. And happy birthday, belated birthday for Tuesday, Jonathan.
That did come with a little prompt, but thank you very much. It's my last birthday with a 4 in front of it, so we'll see how that goes. Now all I get is 4s behind it, But wonderful to be here this morning, Shelley. So good to have you here, and I've heard great things about your LinkedIn programs. Shelley is a leading UK expert, United Kingdom expert on LinkedIn, which is funny because we're on Facebook Live today. But this will end up on LinkedIn, I promise. I'm excited about this because I think I'm probably in the same boat where I think I've got a good handle on social media and I don't do LinkedIn well. And I know I don't do a consistency. I don't actually fully get LinkedIn. And I feel like the responses just aren't there the same way. And obviously it's not necessarily LinkedIn, it's the way I'm doing it. So Shelley, before we dive into obviously a lot of the tactics of that, welcome, and I'd love you just to quickly introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted to be here, and thanks to you for inviting me on, and also to May King. Fantastic to be here with you guys. And I have to say, I am massively passionate about LinkedIn. So before I dive into a bit about me, I just have to say that, as someone.
Sorry.
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 I was getting confused for a minute. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, I can hear myself back.
You were hearing you twice.
there is an echo going on. No worries. So before I dive into telling you about myself, I just want to say, don't worry if you're listening and you're just new to LinkedIn and you've never tried it before. If you're comfortable on Facebook or Instagram, but LinkedIn feels like another world, I was that person as well, and I'm an online marketer. But now 3 years later, I'm a total convert. So it will be quite easy to convert you. And my background, just to tell you a bit about me, is I am a LinkedIn trainer, but I see myself more as an online marketer that helps business owners to be able to grow their businesses, hopefully double or triple your revenue in just a few months through LinkedIn. I've been doing this for about 6 years, sort of in my third business client, Nectar. But to be honest, I've been in marketing for 20. So I was there at the days when you could still get your website SEO'd into the front page of Google or the top of Google in just a few months. So I remember those good old days.
Wow. As my kids would call it,
the olden days. The olden days, they're kind of gone now, aren't they? 9 months if you're lucky.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic.
Now, Shelley.
Go make
I was just going to say that Shelley and I actually met when we went on a LinkedIn program together, and then I actually attended Shelley's LinkedIn Leads on Tap challenge. And as similar to yourself, Jonathan, we feel that we may have had a bit of a handle on social media, but there's always lots to learn. And when I went on Shelley's program, wow, it was incredible. Because LinkedIn is flavor of the month this year, isn't it? Last year, everyone was jumping on Instagram. Earlier this year, it was TikTok. And then, since COVID and a little bit before, it's been LinkedIn, hasn't it? And there's all these experts that are just popping around, but you're one of the OGs.
So I think the most common thing I get is, hey, I saw you're a coach, we should connect and network, and it's someone trying to sell you like a 6-figure income program or something like that. And I've noticed your marketing has been a lot more subtle, a lot more relational, I'd say. It's whereas a lot of these just try cold stuff and it's almost like spam. But anyway, let's start high level. So LinkedIn obviously is the area where you're passionate about, and the tools and tactics. So we'll get to that. So how did you get into this space in the first place?
This is quite an interesting sort of story. So I'll give you the short version because I'm sure you prefer the short version rather than the long one. When I started out in my sort of career, I was in the fashion industry, and basically I saw everyone being made redundant around me. It was at that point when the whole of the fashion industry was being outsourced abroad. So I was like 20 years old, completing my degree, and suddenly I joined the fashion industry, and like all the jobs were being cut around me and going to India. And I thought, I think I need to change my profession. This is clearly not going to work. And at that same time, thank God, I got headhunted to become a lecturer. I'd done my master's, and I got headhunted to become a university lecturer, just temporarily. I joined, never thought that it was going to be a permanent job. Ended up being offered course director role for a fashion marketing degree program. Ran it for 7 years, got it validated to honours level, and kind of got burnt out and decided I'm going to just completely change things up, and became a psychotherapist. I had no intention of becoming a business owner at all. This is like, it's important to say that I never saw myself as a business owner. But if you start a psychotherapy business, you have to start your own business, because there aren't really many jobs in it. So I seem to be very good at picking professions where either they're going through an economic crisis or there's like literally not many jobs in that field. I don't know what it is about me, but
I know that feeling.
And so I ended up in Ireland, next door to a beach, with a lot of cows around me, and I thought, oh my God, like I'm going to start my psychotherapy business. And so I basically took London to Ireland and pretended I was still in London. Started up a really busy psychotherapy practice.
Except the beach and the cows, of course, right?
Except for the beach and the cows. But from that process, and this is, I'm sorry for this, slightly long-winded. But
no, this is great. This is great.
It is a potted, like, so from there, I was like doing my counseling work, fully booked within like just 6 months with clients. And I started just getting tons of other therapists and coaches coming to me and saying, how did you manage it? How did you get your business up and running? And so my intention wasn't to carry on doing the marketing, but I suddenly ended up with all this marketing consultancy work happening. So I started teaching them how to get their business off the ground. And that's really where it started 15 years ago. And it kind of grew into being more formalized than that. I started a second business, and I did all the marketing and had a big network across Ireland with all different therapists, and I was helping them get clients. So I was coordinating the process. And then I kind of quickly realized from that the hell of trying to SEO a website in multiple locations wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And I realized I actually needed to be international. I needed to be teaching my programs to all different business owners internationally. And that's where Client Nectar was born 6 years ago. And I just haven't looked back. It literally just took off straight away. I started off teaching Facebook ads and Facebook funnels for the first 4 years. And then my funnel broke about 3 years ago when the ads started becoming really expensive. And I looked around for myself to figure out, well, what next? Which platform is going to work for me right now? Because at that point, Facebook wasn't working. And that's when I discovered LinkedIn, and basically fell in love with LinkedIn. And from there have just been blown away by how fast business owners can get results through LinkedIn. And there's so many advantages. I won't go into that now, but there are so many advantages that make it such a great platform for business owners.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, I mean, it really sounds like this has all come out of the fact that you actually got a real interest in how people behave.
Absolutely.
and how they tick and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Totally. And I just love helping people. I mean, if I wasn't, I would still be a psychotherapist if it wasn't so poorly paid, being completely honest with you. Love the work, but it's
so there you need to come to America. Psychotherapists do well in America.
It is definitely different from in the UK. They definitely do better than they do in the UK. But in the UK, it's not well paid. And then, to be honest, you kind of get to a point as well. For me, I definitely got to a point where I wanted to bring everything, all my skills together. So I really enjoy basically helping people to develop great relationships with their ideal clients. And to create that match. so that it's not a like sleazy sales process. It's more of a like a coming together and a match between you and your ideal clients, and making that as easy as possible to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think with where you've come from, Shelley, sorry to interrupt, Jonathan, you know, just relaying your story, you brought in all your aspects of what you've learned, your career, into your program. I think what makes your program particularly unique is the fact that you were a teacher, and there was clearly a lot of homework that you gave to the attendees of your challenge. And like a teacher, you guide them. You don't shout at people, give them detention or 100 lines if they don't do the work. But
well,
equally,
not yet. I haven't joined yet.
I praised them to death, basically. That's my trick. My trick is like deathly encouragement. We're just going to encourage you so much so that you have to do it. Like you feel compelled to.
But I think it's definitely that support that you have with all the attendees together, and we're all learning together in this virtual classroom in your Facebook group, and cheering each other on, and encouraging each other, and I think that's what's quite unique about your program, if you don't mind me saying so. And the other thing for me personally is the good old mindset. You with your program, you're not only teaching the tools of how to use LinkedIn, how to reach out to your ideal client, how to find your ideal client, how to actually think about your ideal client, but it's also the mindset as well. And I think that you personally helped me with a couple of mental roadblocks, the whole imposter syndrome, fear of rejection, fear of reaching out to people, fear of failure, and so it's your program not just teaches people the tools of how to use LinkedIn, it's also about making those personal breakthroughs. And I think that's what's really particularly powerful. And that comes from yours, your caring, your teaching, your guiding, your coaching experience.
Oh, thank you. That's really touching. But I definitely, I agree with you. I think as business owners, 20% of it is strategy and 80% is our mindset. I mean, I'm sure, Jono, you know that yourself as well.
Yeah.
So much of it is
just my own, let alone everyone else's that I work with.
Exactly.
No, it's so true. I came into the business game via marketing. That's my kind of my playtime. And so I ran marketing agencies and owned marketing companies, that sort of thing. And I found we were building these brilliant strategies and great businesses and beautiful brands and all that, and fantastic messages. And then it would just kind of scrape along, like it would never really take off. And that's when I got really curious about people. I've always loved the people game versus the tactical game. I got curious about people and realized that if you don't deal with at least the leader, at least the key person, but certainly a leadership, it doesn't matter how beautiful. And in fact, you look around, there's a lot of ugly brands and ugly marketing strategies out there that are doing extremely well because the people at the helm, are good at what they do and are good at themselves. And
I mean, this is the thing. It's not always about how much talent you have. It's about confident you are about putting yourself out there. And unfortunately that can be the case. So what I try and do is make sure I get people who are really good at what they do but lack that confidence, because usually people who are intelligent and good at what they do have more self-doubt. And I try and help them get over that self-doubt so that they can get on with doing what they're here to do.
Beautiful. Really. And it's such an intriguing package because it's really tactical on both fronts. It's tactical up here, but it's also tactical in terms of the things you now need to do. And I'm seeing a lot of shift in this in the business mindset. So I love this. I mean, we could talk about just this for the rest of the session.
We could.
But we got a bunch of people who want to find out about LinkedIn. So
absolutely.
So you said, you found LinkedIn and you found LinkedIn was the way to go. What was it about LinkedIn that stood out for you?
Yeah, this is really easy to explain. There are just some key things about LinkedIn that for the last 3 years have meant that it has outperformed other platforms. And obviously it does depend what stage you're at with your business as well, and who your audience is. So we have that in mind as well. If you're starting a business, or if you're making less than 100K, or if your ideal clients are corporates, you need to be on LinkedIn. If you're in any of those categories, you need LinkedIn. The benefits of LinkedIn that you get over other platforms right now is that, first of all, it's free. So yes, you can pay for LinkedIn Premium, and you probably will want to once you start doing a lead gen on LinkedIn. But essentially, other than that, there is no cost. So $100 a month is going to be like your cost for using LinkedIn, and there's nothing else. So you don't need any tech apps to underpin what you're doing on LinkedIn. You don't need any tech apps. You don't need to be putting any money into marketing spend. There's no ads. You don't need to do ads on LinkedIn. You can do it all organically. So straight away, if you're starting out in business, you know, you can see the advantage there. There's no outgoings ahead of you getting a client. It's just your time. And then the time bit, well, it's actually really fast to get LinkedIn working for you because it is so simple. It's just a case of actually reaching out to your ideal clients through LinkedIn and messaging them and forming a direct relationship with them and seeing if they want to have a call with you. I mean, that's the sales funnel. It's not complicated. So within, like, as long as you've got a clear idea of who your ideal client is and you have the right messages to send to them and you know how to search for them on LinkedIn, as long as you get those things right, basically you're going to get appointments booked in within a matter of days of starting to reach out to these clients.
Wow.
And from there you can convert them into clients. So you can see the advantages. A new entrepreneur, someone making less than 100K, you know, even less than 200K potentially, you're going to be in a really good position because you're immediately able to pick up clients without having massive outlays ahead of time. You know, and you can then get higher profits because essentially you're not paying out money on ads or anything. There's no tech apps you need. That's all free. So basically you maintain more of your profit, which is what you need to be able to grow the business. And then, you know, and then down the road, you might want to do, you know, more scaling and use Facebook ads and all the rest of it. Yeah. But for that stage, now, if you work with corporates, the only people that are, you know, the only way of getting in front of corporates and getting to decision makers is through LinkedIn. You're not going to get to them through other platforms. So, you know, you only have that platform to choose from, essentially. So you can see these benefits. These are key benefits. The other aspect is there's still organic reach, and there has been something said about how LinkedIn are lessening the organic reach, which is true. There are some changes happening with the algorithm, but compared to Facebook and Instagram, there's still a lot more organic reach on LinkedIn than there are on those platforms. So you can increase your brand awareness really fast through LinkedIn. So that's also a key advantage. And when you put all of this together, it makes a really solid argument for using LinkedIn as a platform. The final piece, which I'm going to throw out there that I think just blows the whole thing up and makes LinkedIn this just like incredible, non-stuffy, wonderful platform, is that the people that you're actually getting in front of, when you search for your ideal clients, you can search for those high caliber clients, those customers who are going to be able to afford to work with you. We're just searching through professionals because LinkedIn is a professional platform. So you're getting in front of the right people. So if you've been struggling on Facebook or Instagram to get people who can afford to work with you, you shift onto LinkedIn and it's just, that's not even an issue. It's not price that becomes an issue. It's actually time. So you have to show them and demonstrate how you're going to help them achieve their goals faster by working with you, because it's time that they're struggling with.
Beautiful differentiation. I love that. Yeah.
Whereas on Facebook, you have a lot of people who have a lot of time because they don't have much work, but they don't have much money. Whereas on LinkedIn, you have a lot of people with a lot of money, but not much time. And so you can see how this is, you know, a lot of services benefit from going out to people on LinkedIn, because what happens when you don't have enough time? You hire people to help you, whether it's coaches, consultants, whether it's for your business or personal life. You hire people because you don't have the time. So yeah, all of this really makes LinkedIn such an amazing platform.
Let's talk a little bit about your LinkedIn Leads on Tap challenge, because this is where I met you and this is where I made the personal breakthroughs. what are the kind of businesses that are coming to your challenge that are wanting to, see that impact being made on LinkedIn?
Yeah, and I think this is the really interesting thing, is because I am now promoting my challenge through Facebook and with ads. So it's quite funny. Yes, I'm a LinkedIn trainer, but I'm also using Facebook ads. I get the irony about that. But I also have spent 3 years just getting clients through LinkedIn. So, so I can. But because I am attracting an audience through Facebook, I am getting quite a wide base of audience of business owners. My core audience through LinkedIn were coaches and consultants primarily. And they were often like the leadership coaches, career coaches, executive coaches, consultants, all different types of consultants. That was my core audience through LinkedIn typically. Now through Facebook, I'm getting people who are in MLM. I'm still getting the coaches, I'm still getting consultants, but I'm getting VAs, for instance, coming through for the challenge. People who are just starting up a new business, and it's a completely new business and they've never had one before. They're kind of coming out of corporate and they want to transition across. It's a very wide range of business owners, all different types, all different backgrounds, ages. It's a complete mix, and that's what's great, because what I like doing is helping kind of everyone. I don't really just want to help people who are already doing very well and very, very successful. I want to help people who are, maybe they're newer in this whole business game, and they're newer to this entrepreneurial life, or they've been struggling for a long time and they haven't been making the kind of income that they want. I like that sort of experience where I really feel like I'm making that powerful difference in someone's life. So so the challenge, it really works for everyone, all different types of business owner, whoever your audience is, and whatever.
Do you find it's a certain kind of person or a certain kind of business that succeeds more in those kinds of challenges?
I think it's a certain type of person that succeeds, because like I say, I mean, I know a lot of people have different feelings about MLM, but I've had a lot of MLM clients, and now there's such a proliferation of different types of MLM businesses, some which are actually very established, that actually you can do really well through LinkedIn if you're an MLM sort of ambassador. It can work incredibly well for you, and that might be a surprise to some people, but it also works really well for traditional business owners as well. Your regular kind of coach or consultant or service provider of any type, lawyer or accountant, whatever it is. But so it really is much more about, are you someone that can just take action?
Yeah.
Are you someone who can see that, yes, you might be afraid of something, but you don't let that stop you. You have fears, but you're willing to grow through them.
Yeah.
Are you someone that can see that maybe you have to put in a bit of hard work right now in order to achieve the goals that you have? And so you're willing, being an entrepreneur, there is some work involved. You're willing to do some, the work that it
Surely
takes
not.
to get your business on the ground. You would be surprised at how many people I meet who are ambivalent about actually the business, especially women, often where they've already got a partner who's making a good income, and they can be a little bit ambivalent, and I get it totally. It's quite a difficult thing in that scenario, because you've got kids as well and you're trying to manage different demands.
Yeah.
So you have to have that real desire. You need to want it.
Yeah, no, it's
so
interesting
it's
because it's interesting because I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and this happens across all business. It's that kind of, there's the ones who know it's hard work and it takes a lot of effort, and there's the ones who think, I can make a lifestyle business out of this. Often when I'm coaching people, particularly in the startup world, so what do you want? So talk to me about your why. And it's like, so I can have some lifestyle. It's like, okay, maybe you should get a part-time job, You'll have more lifestyle that way. And, but obviously their goals as well. They recognize there's hard work to get there. But I think that can be one of the attitudes with social media as well. And I've seen it certainly with Facebook, just if I do some ads and I automate all this stuff, then I'm all good, but that's probably not the truth. It's just like every other channel, every other business, it's hard work. You put a lot of effort to get your challenge and to get your business to where it is today. and continue to, right? Because there's always the funnels.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, I think it's actually really hard when you're, I mean, I don't want to harp on just about people who are starting out in business, because obviously there's other people who are established, have been going for several years. But even, you know, anyone who's not been visible online, if we put it in that frame of reference, if you've not really had to market your business before, like you've just been getting people on referral coming to you. So you might be established, but you've just been having referrals come to you. But you're hit by the pandemic this year, and you've seen some of those referrals go down.
Yeah.
Or you're someone who's starting out and hasn't been visible online before. Basically, it's very difficult to jump in to doing a Russell Brunson funnel, you know, with the whole tech side set up behind the scenes, the Facebook ads, often for a product that's not at a very high price. So initially, you've got to be able to have that wherewithal of money that you can put money into ads and not recover your money back for 6 months, maybe even longer, potentially maybe even a year. So you need those deep pockets to get that approach working. What I love about LinkedIn is you don't need deep pockets. It basically makes you profitable straight away, you know. And the thing is that you're attracting the clients who, instead of paying you £500, are going to pay you thousands of pounds. So like I have clients who are coaches who are charging, they start out charging like £1,000 for 3 months coaching. I work with them, get them on LinkedIn, and they're charging $3,000 or $4,000 it is in the US. So like $4,000 for 3 months coaching. So they like double or triple immediately what they're charging just by changing platforms.
Yeah.
Just by changing the audience and targeting the audience through LinkedIn. And they get to, that is mostly going in their pocket because there's no ads going out. There's no tech, you know. That's actually profit that they can pay themselves a salary, and they can continue to invest in the business so they can continue to grow.
Yeah.
And the same, like I have other clients who are working with corporates who are put together a package and it's $50,000 for the package. LinkedIn is the only place they're going to get in front of the decision makers that they're going to be able to sell that package to. They're not going to be able to do it on any other platform. And I see
so you're talking about so you're talking about the customers are charging those kind.
Yeah.
So you're also encouraging them mindset-wise to increase their rates and be a lot more confident. Yeah. And, beautiful.
And to know where your audience is, because like if you're wanting to get decision makers in corporate, they're not on Facebook.
Right.
So if you try and do a Facebook funnel, and people do advise, you know, people are looking for people in corporates to do a Facebook funnel and to spend on ads and have all of the tech behind. They're just not there. It's about relationships with corporate, with B2B. So this is kind of what I try and do, is I try and really help people to know what stage of business you're at, what's the best platform for you, given the stage of business you're at, and given the fact that you're where your audience is. And let's get you in front of the audience that can pay you, where you're going to get a great amount of money for what you do. You're going to be profitable quickly in your business, or you're going to be able to scale your business further. And it's going to happen a lot more easily and with less stress than trying to figure out tons of systems and tech and, you know, ads and all the rest of it, which for most of us, if you've not had that online presence ready,
it's a minefield.
Trying to get the marketing together or like the ads, unless you know your audience really well, it's going to be really difficult to get it to work.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've been working with some higher end clients, and even there, they just like, you know what, I'm just going to get some social media person to do it all for me because it's too confusing. It's too hard. There's too many bits of software and heat maps and retargeting and all the different things that they need to do. Right. There's 1,000 things you can do. But there are people who sort of hang out in that space. But I love what you're saying here. It's like, well, LinkedIn is actually reasonably straightforward and doesn't require a lot of this. I mean, obviously, as you evolve and grow, you become better at this and you can do other stuff. But in terms of, and this is the challenge, we are talking to smaller, you know, soloists, smaller businesses, early growth startups, that sort of space. And they're probably looking at all of this and going, it's just too much. But what I'm hearing from you is that's not the case, and that's
not the case. I mean, and I can put it in really plain terms.
Beautiful.
I used to teach Facebook funnels. It used to take me at least 8 weeks to even have a remote possibility of getting someone to get appointments with their ideal clients that
Wow.
they can then convert into clients. At least 8 weeks, and usually it took them longer than that. So it was very difficult to teach them in 3 months to get their funnel up and running. On LinkedIn, we can do it in a couple of weeks.
Is that
We
right?
literally can do it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's really fast, and so that's the huge difference.
So, but
And
why is it so different?
Because the actual sales funnel through LinkedIn is not really even a sales funnel. Basically, this is the real truth. People don't realize how easy it is to generate appointments through LinkedIn. That's why they're not doing it, because they don't know how easy it is. All it involves, at a very basic level, is you just searching on LinkedIn for the people who are your ideal clients. And most people don't even do this, right? But you just search on LinkedIn for the people who are your ideal clients. Once you've searched for them, you then connect with them and send them a short message, just say why you want to connect with them. And you connect with them, they accept your connection request, and then you send them a longer message that goes into who you work with and how you typically help them, what the problems are that they're struggling with, and you position a free call to see if they would be interested in coming on a call with you, so that you can give them that kind of support if they're struggling with those problems that you talked about in your message. And from there, you get appointments booked in, and of course, then you can convert them into clients. That is it. That is your funnel. I mean, it's a non-funnel essentially. There's no working.
No, it is. It's a funnel. I mean, it absolutely is. It's a pipeline. Probably is
It's a pipeline, but it's a super, super easy, simple one.
Oh my goodness, it is.
That's it. And then all I do with people is, once they've got that in place, I just say to them, so, okay, how many messages did you send? How many connection requests did you send? How many people accepted? Let's look at the figures and the stats. How many people asked for appointments? Let's look at the stats on that. And then if the stats are below a certain threshold, we know we need to change parts, like maybe the targeting or the messaging, or we might need to change one of those two things. If the stats are coming above the threshold that we need them to be, then happy days.
Yeah, keep going.
Refining, it's just refining and improving it. So it's not complicated.
Wow, that is.
You talked about the non-funnel, or the pipeline, as Jonathan talked about. It's also about, I mean, like you say, LinkedIn is the professional network, so you're expected to be professional. And so, when you've made that connection, of course, there's the actual, branding that a business owner needs to do. And you also talk through a little bit about that in your program, don't you? So you're not only reaching out to people, which is the outbound, where you're finding your ideal clients and trying to make appointments with them. But in addition to that, once they've connected, then they may want to, have a bit of a nosy and see who you are and lurk on your stuff. So you, throughout your challenge, you actually do both bits.
We do both.
So inbound and outbound. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, fantastic.
So the funnel that I just described to you guys, with the outbound messaging, that's one piece, and that is a very important piece that a lot of people overlook, because it's a foundation piece to getting appointments and clients. What we do with the inbound side is we're actually building on that, because you have to build your network on LinkedIn with people who are your ideal clients. So you have to be reaching out to them anyway. So once you're building connections who are your ideal clients, then you have what we effectively got an audience. A bit like your Facebook page has a lot of people who like the page. You've got an audience on Facebook. It's the same thing on LinkedIn. Your connections are your audience. And then when you start posting content on LinkedIn, that gets seen by your LinkedIn connections and potentially by some of their connections as well. And then you're increasing your brand awareness by sharing content that's really valuable, that's helping your ideal clients to know how to solve their problems, just in bite-sized chunks, like a short 1-minute video, text posts. By also commenting and liking on your ideal clients' posts as well, you can start building that relationship with them. And so that brings in basically the second funnel that you have through LinkedIn, where you're pulling your LinkedIn connections through to request to have a call with you. by them seeing your content and then saying, hey, that's really helpful, that's exactly what I need, and sending you a message on LinkedIn saying, can we have a chat about how I can work with you? So you're, you know, instead of just the outreach where you're going out to people, you're also then pulling people through to you that maybe when you first linked up with them, they weren't ready for what you were offering. Maybe they didn't need your service at that point. But at the point when they are ready, they'll have seen your content that you're sharing, and then they'll contact you and say, hey, I would like to work with you. So you can quite rapidly get known as a go-to person in your field through that organic reach you get with your content.
So you talk about, you know, the content you're sharing and so forth. So there's another piece to this, right? That you are actually sharing content as well.
Absolutely.
I know that's the bleeding obvious, but I think there's a lot of people who just do requests and then you go and look at them and there's no content. You don't get a feel for who they are or what they're on about or what they like, or maybe they do it too much. I mean, and I think, you know, I think it's always a combination of the two. You know, the way I see it, you know, we need brand awareness for what we're doing. So we need that sort of almost like more broadcasting kind of platform where people start to see you as being an expert. And so by creating content, you allow that. You're teaching and you're adding value and you're helping people to see you as that expert. As a funny thing is that a lot of us don't realize, but as soon as we host a webinar, anyone that comes on that webinar, they have put time aside to listen to your webinar. And immediately they see you as like up there. They see you as this expert. So even if you've just started out in business, if you host a webinar, immediately you create that sort of student teacher experience in your ideal clients' minds. They start looking at you as the expert. And it's the same thing when you start posting content, even if it's just text posts on LinkedIn, super simple text posts. When people take the time to read your content and they get something useful out of it, they start seeing you a bit, the student-teacher relationship is starting to be built in their heads, in their way they relate to you. And so we're encouraging that when you share content. We're encouraging your ideal clients to see you as this go-to resource, you know? And that's the important, like with what you're doing with these, you know, podcasts, it's the same thing. It's creating an ability for people to get to know you better and to see the value in what you're doing before they start working with you. Yeah, definitely. And that's, we've sort of created these different kind of connection levels as well, you know, from free through to not free.
Exactly. It's the try before you buy kind of thing, isn't it? People have got to know you. They feel that they like you as a person. They hear what you say and they find, that's really helpful. It's really helped me. And so when they're ready, they're like, I'm just going to come and buy from you. They're not going to go to anyone else. And so we want to do that. We want to basically not always have to reach out to people to say, are you needing this help? We want to also have people drawn to us too.
In a sense, they're coming to you, right? I mean, when you look at traditional sales going way back, like spin selling or something like that, it's like you're getting to a point where they're actually selling back to you. Like I'm coming to you and telling you why I need you.
This is it. That's totally it. And you also often get other opportunities as soon as people start posting content on LinkedIn. They get invited to speak at conferences. One of my clients, he'd only just started on LinkedIn, and his audience, I mean, this is giving you how like different. He sells private medical insurance, but he doesn't come up with private medical insurance himself. He works for a company that finds the right private medical insurance for business owners. And he realized that electricians are a great audience for him. Electricians need private medical insurance because if something happens on a job and they injure themselves, they can't wait to get seen, you know, on the National Health Service. They need to get it fixed quickly. So I got him to reach out to people through LinkedIn, reach out to electricians through LinkedIn. You might think they're not very active on LinkedIn. Surprisingly, they are. They are active on LinkedIn.
I only need to see it, right?
So who knew? But he quickly, within like a week, got invited to speak at a conference in front of 70 electricians.
Wow.
I mean, that was 1 week of him connecting with people on LinkedIn and starting to post, and he got this invitation. I mean, like, that is a gold mine. You know, that was fantastic brand awareness for him and fantastic opportunity. And that's the kind of thing that happens
based on age-old marketing tactics, like target your market, be clear on who you're going after, all those things that really, as we said right back at the beginning, it's the actual process hasn't changed. It's the technology about how we do it and how we connect. I'd also suggest that things like video has become widely available. I mean, obviously this is really easy for us to do. We're on in two different countries, and often we're in 3 or 4 on these calls. And so, video has enabled people to sort of get more of a feel, because obviously if I'm putting something down in words, it might be smart words, but I could have got those from somewhere else or whatever. But there is that sort of face-to-face engagement. I noticed, going onto your website, for example, I was able to meet you and hear a bit about what you're on about. And so I assume video,
that interactivity is very important, isn't it? Like that people being able to actually get to know a bit about who you are and get to see you and kind of get a sense of you through video. It's priceless, really, in a lot of ways.
Now, here at Business in Bare Feet, we are a group of mentors that help each other out. Sometimes we are mentors, sometimes we are mentees. And so we wanted to talk about your experience, Shelley, both as a mentor and a mentee in your entrepreneurial journey.
Lovely. Yeah, do you want me just to share my experience of that, or do you have anything in particular you were?
Just a little a little brief history of where you are, and also how powerful it is to be to have that access.
Absolutely. I would say one of the first things about being a mentee, so being on that side, is when you have someone that you look up to and you can see, wow, they're doing what I want to do. So ideally, if they're your mentor, but it doesn't have to be your mentor. But if you see someone doing what you want to do, it can be so inspirational. I mean, my uncle is an incredibly successful business owner. He has a hugely successful business. And I look at what he's achieved because I've seen it from the early days all the way through. And I've seen what lifestyle he has as well as a result. And I've seen also, what he's been able to do for others. And that has been a huge inspiration for me. And he's not my mentor, but that's been a huge inspiration. What I know, though, from business myself is that I spent the first, I think 8 to 10 years without a mentor at all in my business. And it was when I got 3 mentors that I tripled my revenue in the first year after I did that. So the power of having a mentor, I cannot say how important. I now think, oh my God, why didn't I do it 8 years earlier? Because that would have made it, a lot more sense.
I'm not laughing at you, Shelley. I'm laughing with you because I exactly the same. I faffed around in business for effectively 9 years, I suppose, or 7 or 8 years without a mentor, doing it by myself and all this kind of stuff. Come back to the UK 4 years ago, and I thought, what, I really need to learn from someone else. And having access to mentors and being a mentee and having mentors, it's just helped me financially and emotionally. I think that's really important, isn't it?
Absolutely. And on that other side, like you're saying, how it helps you emotionally and financially. When I look at being a mentor to my clients, what I love is that what I'm doing with them is getting them set up in business. Often a lot of new businesses come to me. So I get a lot of new business owners. I do get established ones as well, but often they're trying to start a new kind of line or a new offering. So even if they've been going a while, they're trying to do something a bit new. And so my thing is let's make you profitable in 3 months, and my mentors kill me about it. Like the mentors I've had in the past who said, Shelley, what are you doing? You're putting yourself under a serious amount of stress doing this. And I'm like, yeah, but this is what I had to do in my business. This is third 3 businesses on, This is what I've always needed to do in my business. They've had to be profitable from day one. So that's what I teach. And so what I love doing as a mentor is like seeing someone who's just starting their business, like literally hasn't got any clients, never sold before. And in 3 months, they are fully booked with appointments. They're picking up clients,
Wow.
you know, and they're saying to me, Shelley, I am exhausted. What have you done to me?
Turn the tap off.
I'm so busy. I have so much work on. I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm like, I've done my job.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Do you find that happens?
What
I mean, do you find that happens a lot where they do? Yeah. Obviously, if they get into it and they really are diligent. Yep.
Absolutely. You just need the right process and formula, and then you need help with your mindset issues, especially around sales.
Yeah.
Especially around sales.
Yeah.
If you can get those two things sorted, you know, you have a business essentially. If you've got the right formula to follow, and you have the mindset that can get you over the sales process, then you know, then you can do it, and we can do it in 3 months.
Yeah.
You know,
so in the spirit of mentoring, and I'm just looking at our time, so we're coming to the top of the hour. So we've got a whole bunch of people going, yep, okay, LinkedIn, cool. Yeah, I can see you're excited about it. Now what?
Yeah. What do they do to get
so let's assume they have a LinkedIn profile, okay? Because obviously if they don't, they're probably not going to be interested in listening to this interview, right? And so let's assume they're there. They're probably in the similar position to me where it's like, okay, maybe use it a bit. But certainly, like, I can hand on heart say, I don't know if I've ever generated business out of LinkedIn. And, you know, I have out of Facebook and I have elsewhere, but I know it could. I'm not going, oh, LinkedIn's hopeless. But, you know, so let's say they're in that situation. So I know this guy. But okay. So what are the next steps? What do
they need to do? Yeah. Super simple. The first thing you need to do, just get out your ideal client avatar. So get out your description of who's your ideal client.
Yep.
Make sure they're on LinkedIn, which is very easy to do. Just do a search by putting their job title into the search bar at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get like millions of results, which you will if you haven't got any filters in,
you type in CEO or whatever. I mean, it's fine. And then the next step is make sure that your profile is fully up to date with your current business and where you are now with that business. So you update your headline so it's really, really clear and speaks to your ideal clients about what you do and how you can help them. You update your about section so it basically does the same thing. It's a longer description than your headline, and it basically speaks to your ideal clients about who they are, what they're struggling with, how you can help them, and why they're going to choose to work with you over anyone else. So like your USPs, what makes you unique and different. Update your work experience section, get a ton of recommendations. This is LinkedIn speak for testimonials. Request to be recommended by all your past clients. So make sure you connect with your past clients, any mentors that you have, colleagues, and just get a ton of recommendations on there. And basically from there, you're ready to go. Then you can actually start reaching out to your ideal clients through LinkedIn. And that's it. Just be ready to obviously continue the conversation. I think that's often the shock, is when it's like, okay, yes, I do want to talk to you. It's like, all right, well, I didn't expect that one.
That's it. But, I mean, and people like to talk to other people on LinkedIn. This is the thing that you're going to be surprised by, because when you try and do like cold email marketing, you know, you're going to get the brush off quite a lot from people. They're not necessarily going to be, oh yeah, I'm happy to talk to you. Or when you directly ring them up, you know, everyone's like, well, actually, I'm busy right now. But on LinkedIn, you send them a message, and people want to talk to you. They want to be helpful because it's a professional platform. So we're used to the concept of let's network through this platform because it could help us, it could help the other person that we're speaking to, and we all gain. You know, so you're getting a different mentality from in response to your outreach.
Yeah, beautiful, Shelley. That's we could probably go for another hour. Like
we could talk for hours.
And we may actually come back and have a conversation. I'd like to have a conversation around companies and groups and, you know, some of those sorts of things that are more common on Facebook, but also are available on LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn Live and all those different bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So
and stories.
Great.
do something
and
more
LinkedIn
technical
stories
around that.
nice
Yeah.
tweets.
What was that?
And LinkedIn stories.
LinkedIn stories, right? Yeah, articles, all sorts. I mean, there's a lot more in there that I've been discovering as well. But one thing that you'd would be a good takeaway for our people before we go.
I think the first thing is just to get on LinkedIn. If you haven't used your profile for a while, just get back on it. Just take a look around and see how it is now, because it's actually it's not the boring stuffy platform it was a few years ago. It's actually quite modern and easy to use. So just get yourself back onto it. Fantastic. And give it a go.
And of course, we touched on the LinkedIn challenge, which you are actually running this week. I'm going to do my level best to convince you to run one before January, but but it sounds like they take a lot of energy. Just talk very quickly about the LinkedIn challenge and when you're planning to run the next public challenge.
Yeah. So basically, I offer a 5-day free LinkedIn Leads on Tap challenge, which gives you an overview of my outbound and inbound proven process of generating leads through LinkedIn. So you get a great grounding in all of the elements of that process, so that you can actually just start, during the week, we start you generating leads through LinkedIn during the week. And by the end of the week, some people even end up with clients out of it. So beautiful. It's a great 5 days. And essentially I see you as one of my clients over those 5 days. So you have me and my team. We're available pretty much 24/7, answering all of your comments in the Facebook group. I also go live twice a day as well and answer all of the questions that people have there. And you just have a simple task, one task that takes you 10 minutes to watch the video, half an hour to complete it per day, and that's it. And by doing that, you have the total formula. So it's a great challenge. The next one's going to be January. I think we kick off on the 18th of January. I don't think I'm going to run it again before then.
But you also have your LinkedIn Made Easy Facebook group that people can go in and have a look at, don't you?
I do, which is just the groups/client Nectar, if you want to find that one. And you can join that at any point and keep you updated about when the next challenge is happening.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly be doing that too from our end, because we really appreciate your time. I think we could probably have a few more chats about LinkedIn. Obviously, it's an area where we all need to get a lot better at. And
yes,
so I've certainly found this really interesting.
It's underused, even if you feel like you're getting quite a lot of messages from people on LinkedIn already. It's still very much underused by business owners. Yeah. So there's a lot of scope.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, this has been fantastic. And so this series, so we call these a fireside chat, and these are, I wish we were sitting, I've got a beautiful fire pit out here in the backyard, wish we were sitting around the fire having a chat. Although it's -3 right now here. So we want a pretty big fire. But these fireside chats we run every week. We like to have conversations, not just with people who know stuff about tech or whatever, but people who are actually entrepreneurs. And Shelley, you've fit that bill beautifully, building it as your own business, grappling with your own challenges to get there, and the technology as well, and being able to turn that into something, really useful and something that you've smiled the whole interview, so you must love it. And so Sandtrax is there's the Facebook and LinkedIn page. So the LinkedIn page is actually Business in Bare Feet. Sandtrax is our community, which is our free Facebook community, a group that you can come and join and be part of the conversation, very similar to what you have with your client Nectar by the sounds. And that's where we have just a lot of conversation backwards and forwards with startups all over the world. And then there is the opportunity to join the Sandtrax Club beyond that. And so we encourage you to think about that, and to think about coming and joining us on that journey, and having great people like May King as mentors to reach out to, and connecting with people like Shelley. So thanks very much, Shelley. It's been wonderful to have you here, and I look forward to our next conversations. And and maybe being ready for your January 18 LinkedIn challenge.
Absolutely.
I might go back through your notes and try and do it anyway, but it just happened so suddenly this week. But May King, beautiful as always. It's wonderful to have you here. Have you got any parting words before we go?
No, I mean, follow Shelley, obviously connect with her on LinkedIn. If you're able to go onto the LinkedIn Leads on Tap Challenge or go into the LinkedIn Made Easy Facebook group, because you'll learn a lot there from Shelley. She's incredible and her community is incredible. So, and I've learned a lot from it and my business has grown as a result.
Totally agree. No, that's fantastic. All right. Well, as far as Facebook's concerned, we're signing off right now. So thank you. Thanks, Shelley. Really appreciate it.
Bye, guys.